Hotep, peace, shalom, assalamu alaikum, konnichiwa, muy bien, um, and to whomever I left out, please don't crucify me for it. Today, what we're going to be talking about, I was attempting to do another live in regards to the music industry, but I don't know what happened with that. We'll do that later. But I'm going to proceed. And what we're going to discuss is the goose that laid the golden sunny. We're going to talk about this personified energy. Now, when we talk about the N word, we had Joe Rogan, who's a freaking idiot. Okay. And in order for you to understand that there are people who are idiots out here that don't know what they're talking about, you got to kind of know what you're talking. Okay. So when Joe Rogan made, and anybody else that makes the comment, using the N word, the nigger is the goose that laid the golden sunny. Okay, so this word was around before before the Moors civilized the Europeans. So see, it just lets you know that Joe Rogan is very uneducated. Um, but this word has been around for thousands of years. Okay, when we look at the Nagas, when we look at the Niger, when we look at Nigeria, um, when we look at the NEGUS, um, this word, as I stated, is ancient. Okay, it has been around before the Moors attempted to civilize the Europeans. Um, so in America or in Timbuktu, Turtle Island, this word has been redefined. Okay, let's say that it has been redefined. It already had a definition before the civilization of the Europeans. It already had its definition as personification, um, which represents the sun. It represents Ra. It represents life as we know. It represents a new beginning. It represents the supreme being. It is a personification and a representation of so many things. Um, the cosmic energy. It's a representation of a variety of things. And that's what I was saying about Joe Rogan. And one thing we have to do as people is we have to begin to study deeply and intensely when it comes to our history, because if you don't know things like that, you will take it negatively when a person uses that term to be degrading. You excuse me, you'll take it negatively in a negative aspect. In actual reality, this word, like I said, is ancient, and it doesn't have a negative spin on it. It doesn't have a negative definition. The Europeans redefined it, which is what they have done with a lot of things. If you go back and look at your history, you're going to see that they came behind you later on and attempted to redefine a lot of things that you had already had a definition to. But in order for you to understand and know that, you have to have some form of knowledge of yourself. You have to have some form of deeper understanding than your basic levels of education in the American educational institutions. Many of us have been institutionalized, um, and we oftentimes can't think outside the box. It's not that you don't want to, is that you can't think outside of the box because your information and your levels of intellect to a certain degree are limited. But when you begin to study and you become more in tune with yourself, and once you begin to study history and your origins and the origins of all civilizations, you will begin to find things that you had never thought that existed. knowledge is like a little treasure map. It leads you to the real treasures, which is wisdom. You know, it's like that treasure chest, and you pop it open, and when you pop it open, it's all of this treasure inside, and everything is gleaming and shiny. You know, it's rubies and diamonds, jewels. Um, so we want to understand that the word Neggur is ancient, and it represents the goose, which is an Egyptian goose. Now, in ancient Kemet, we have depictions on the walls of the goose, and one of the depictions on the wall of the goose is Amun. Okay, he's depicted as a goose, which he represents the supreme being. He represents the golden sun egg. Um, and and it's obvious that he's very proud of who he is. He's proud of who he is. You can clearly see that in his records, in his record keeping. He has found himself. He understands the essence of his entire existence. And as a result of his understanding, he felt that it would be wise to make record, to record what he understood about himself and the nature, nigger. It is pronounced in so many different ways. And as I stated, when the Europeans came later, as they were tomb raiding on their expeditions, uh, they later attempted to redefine things. Okay, so when you hear them using the N word in a derogatory aspect, one thing you want to first understand is that they're uneducated. And it may not be, they may not have an education or a knowledge of history. They may have graduated from a I've encountered people who are millionaires, people who have PhD degrees, master degrees, college degrees, and they didn't know what the origin of the word was. They defined that, they were defining it the same as Europeans have defined it, and that's coming from people of various ethnic backgrounds, people of color, people, of Europeans, people of different ethnic backgrounds, as I stated before. So, a variety of people who have graduated from these institutions, educational institutions. And despite them having these college degrees, and despite them having all of these degrees and these plaques on the wall, they still didn't understand and comprehend um, the essence of certain and etymology of certain terminologies. So, like I said, just because a person, and I want us to understand that, I want us to begin to understand that as people, because a person is wealthy, it doesn't mean that they are intelligent. They could have obtained that wealth because somebody in their family died. Okay, it doesn't mean that they're smart, or it doesn't mean that they're have a high level of intellect, or they have knowledge. It just means they may have they may have come by wealth in a variety of ways. So we oftentimes we give a little too much because a person has a plaque on the wall. um and as I stated, I have encountered people of both colors, highly educated by the educational institutions here in our society, but when you ask them about certain things in regards to history, um, and some things in regards to our modern society, certain things about laws, and they have graduated, they have college degrees, they didn't know. Okay, so just because a person has a degree, it doesn't make them smarter than you. Just because a person has a degree, it doesn't make them any better than you. It just means that they experienced something that you did not experience, and they have a record of their experience. Okay, so we want to try to stop. We have a lot of people who have a very, sometimes you have low self-esteem or low self-confidence level, and when you encounter people who may have, like I said, graduated from institutions, educational institutions, it doesn't mean that they're smarter than you. It's people, listen, it's people out here that have graduated from educational institutions that have plaques and degrees on the wall. They previously smoked crack at some point. They previously may have allowed their children to be molested. They previously may have allowed their children to be abused. They previously may have abused a child. You just never really know. So just because a person has a piece of paper, a record, doesn't necessarily mean that they know precisely what they're talking about. They may be skilled in a particular subject matter. Okay. If you have a nursing degree, you may be skilled in nursing. But if I ask you a question in regards to the definition of an ancient term, you may not have knowledge of that. So just because a person has a plaque or it doesn't mean anything. And we have to think beyond that. As I stated before, um, everybody has a different, profession. People have different skills. And skills are something that we've been very gifted people. We were born with great skills. Some people have a gift of the gab. Some people, have a gift with nursing. Some people are good at nursing. Some people are good at, making engines. Some people are good at computer technology. You know, so everybody has some probably some sort of gift. You just have to dig in and tune it and dig in and to find out what that gift may be, so that you can bring it out and empower yourself with that gift. And as I stated, when we talk about the Nagas, we're talking about ancient civilizations. When we're talking about the Niger, we're talking about ancient geographical locations. Okay. So like I said, when we talk about the nature, the Neteru, we are talking about the omnipresence and the omnibenevolent. We are talking about the eternal essence of life. Okay. So when we talk about this golden sun egg, the new uncracked, um, is, we're talking about our galaxy. We're talking about our universe. We're talking about, the cosmic explosions and the um, cosmic transformations of energies, um, from one flowing from one source to another, in diverse life forms. So we have to understand that. And when we're talking about these diversities, we are talking about the presence and the essence of our existence and the essence of life. It's in a variety of aspects. Now, when we talk about the golden sun egg, we also are going to talk about the church. Now, when you look at the Archbishop of Rome, the Archbishop is a tradition. It's a tradition, and it is a part of the church. They have to perform this tradition. Um, they travel on annually to go kiss the feet of the Great Mother, that which gives them life. Okay, and as they kiss the feet of the Great Mother, upon her lap sits the golden sun egg. The golden sun egg not only represents, the cosmic universe, but it also represents diverse life forms. And in this particular case, it represents the form of humanity. you know. And on her lap sits this golden sun egg, this golden child. The golden child and the golden sun egg are pretty much, they are one. Okay. Now on her lap sits this golden eye. Now while the Pope is kissing her beloved feet with her beautiful black skin. Okay. On her lap, as I stated, sits the golden sun egg and the golden child. And the reason why he is the golden child is because he is the first. He is the firstborn. She has many sons. Okay, I want you to understand this about the Great Mother. The Great Mother has many sons, but on her lap sits the golden one, the golden child. Okay. And I want you to understand now, the talking about things like this is going to upset some people, especially those who are not considered to be the golden child. That's where you get the jealousy from. One brother is jealous of the other brother because this brother is looked upon as the one with the light, and this one is angry because he isn't the one with the light. So then you have the strife and the battle between the two siblings. And with the jealousy and the battle between the two siblings is how an empire is first divided. Okay. When we talk about stories like Set and Asar, when we talk about the story of Cain and Abel, which is stories that are, we see a reflection of these same stories. There's similarities all over the entire planet. This creation story may have different names, but you see it in different cultures. It has a different name over here in ancient Kemet is he's referred to as Asar and Set. But from a biblical perspective and from a Europeanized perspective, they're calling them Cain and Abel. So everybody has a different creation myth or a creation story. But the one thing we have to keep understanding about these diversities and these creation stories is the one similarities that they have. And one of the similarities is the story of the two brothers who don't get along. Now, this is the mother, the great mother. She has two sons, and this is typical. This is, if you're a mom, you're a woman, you have children, you know how boys can be sometimes. Then you have another story later on in the Bible, a brother who steals the other brother's birthright. Okay. And that's not just something that's going on previously. We got that going on right now because we do have people attempting to steal our birthright. Identity theft is still going on right now. People who are pretending to be the direct descendants of the golden child and the great mother, and in actual reality, they are imposters. Okay. They are not the original. Okay. So we have people who are, pretending to be that which they are not, stealing the other brother's identity. Right now to this day. It's not something that had happened in ancient times. We are still experiencing it right now. Okay. So you have to be clear on that. That's not something that just happened back previously. That's something that people are still doing right now to this day. All right. And they're doing it for a variety of reasons, not only for inheritance purposes, um, but they're doing it for many purposes, for survival. Some people are attempting to do it because they're trying to survive in whichever way they can. Some people are doing it because they are angry and jealous of those that are chosen, and they don't want to see the chosen one in the place where they actually belong. So they'll attempt to steal the person's birthright, to hinder the progress of that person and to keep them down. The demonic, satanic, negative energy. So we want to be clear on that. And when you look at some of the stories, as I stated in history, you can clearly see where you have people invading empires. Um, and in the invasion of empires, you get the stories become mixed up, identity becomes mixed up. Then you have one person claiming to be something that they're not. And like I said, it's going on right now in the society today. There are people who are hate who they are. There are people like me, I love who I am. But there are other people out there, they hate who they are. They hate their everything about their history. They hate themselves, and they love everything about you. They love everything about you and how civilized you have been, how you've gone around the world and you civilized from one place to another, how you have these ancient traditions and these ancient cultural traditions that you continue to practice throughout society, that you carry with you everywhere you go. And you have this light, this divine aurora that goes with you, and they're angry and they're jealous because they don't possess that light. They're angry and jealous because they don't carry that light. So they practice forms of self-hatred, as a result. because they're not in love with, in tune, and in love with who they are. They're more concerned and fascinated with who you are, because they feel like your essence and your presence is more divine than theirs. So you do have to be careful of people like that, because they will do any and everything they can to try to keep and hinder your progress as a human being, because they are afraid um, of this light that you bear. They're afraid and they're jealous at the same time. Um, so we want to be clear about these things. And as I stated, the word Neggur is a very, very ancient word, and you hear people using it in our communities, um, but and they use it in a positive way. Okay, when a brother meets, another brother, when they see each other, like, yo, what's up, my, and boom, they, dap each other up, and it's a beautiful thing, you know. But then when these people, ignorant people, use it and they attempt to redefine it, we have to be on our A game. And you have to remember, you were always the civilizer anyway. You were always a teacher. Okay. And there were things that some things you taught them, some things you didn't. Okay. And it's obvious that you didn't teach them the origin of this word and what this word initially meant. And if you did, they attempted to redefine. Okay. And in an attempt to redefine it, that's just jealousy and envy and them hating themselves and hating who they are. You have to try to be a little bit more compassionate and understanding to those who are not the divine. That is one thing that you have been known for, is your kindness, your generosity, and your understanding, your compassion towards others on the planet. Okay. Now I'm not saying be no dummy and be nobody's fool, but I'm saying that you also have been known throughout history for your kindness and for your generosity, your compassion, and your understanding. Nobody on the planet has been more compassionate than you. Okay? Nobody on this planet has been more loving, kind, compassionate, and understanding than you, my people. That's what history speaks volumes for us. And despite what man tells you about history speaks volumes for itself. Okay. And what it has said is that you have been one of the most kindest beings upon the earth. Had you not been as kind and loving and benevolent as you are, and so generous and compassionate, had you not been that kind, where would the world be right now? Had you been stingy like them, had you been evil and demonic like them, they wouldn't even be civilized. They would have died off thousands of years ago. Had you not been kind and loving, some of the technology that we have right now, it would not have been this advanced. So I want you to begin to understand that the word, the nigger, is a beautiful terminology. It means something that's so divine, something so beautiful. Okay? They can't, it's enigmatic. They can't really describe and explain the essence of this golden sun egg, because it has transformed into to a variety of things. When we look at plants and the greenness and how beautiful they are and how they give us life. How we use different plants to eat, and we grow food. When we look at the air that we breathe in, when we look at our the water that we drink, you know so you have to understand that um this word is something that is more divine than their actual comprehension level, then they can actually comprehend. Okay. Remember, your pineal gland is larger than theirs. Okay. Your thought process goes far beyond theirs. Okay. So, as I stated before, the nigger is the goose that laid the goat. And one thing you want to understand about the Pope and the church, and during the civilizing of not just Europeans, but when you were going civilizing all over the place, these were traditions, some of the traditions that you taught them in your travels. You taught them to worship and respect the mother. That is where they came from. That is what gave them life. They slid out of some sort of portal. They slid out of some form, sort of womb. Now we have people going around nowadays asking people, what is a woman? Well, for any man that does not know what a woman is, that is something that you should have asked your mom. And this is where we have regressed. We are in a society now, they don't even know what a woman is. Now they're attempting to redefine a woman. And one of the reasons why they're attempting to redefine a woman, because we have outside influences um, that are attempting to try to redefine what a woman is. Okay. Now, in a minute, a woman isn't going to be born with the breast and born with a vagina and giving birth and having a womb to bring forth life. In a minute, a woman is going to be whatever they say it is. If they could say it got a dog over here, woof, woof, over here with hair, they're going to point to that and tell you that's a woman right there. Okay. So just prepare yourself and prepare your mind for what's going on. They're removing some, they're telling you you can't use some words and then attempting to redefine words that have already been created. You know, and like I said, there's a lot of people coming into. They are beginning to study and learn themselves, and there are some people who are learning their origins, and they're not happy with the things that they found. They're not happy with the fact that they were thinking that they were the creators of everything, and now they're beginning to realize that you're just a carbon copy. Okay, so they're not going to be happy with things like that, especially if they have mistreated you. One thing you have to learn about that, okay, is if they have mistreated you or hurt you or attempted to keep you down in some way. Now that they're beginning to understand, obtain a new understanding, um, and they're beginning to see the truth about who you really and actually are, is going to anger them. They're going to be upset, especially. And the reason why is because they treated you so terribly. And that ain't just, and I want my people to understand that ain't just for people that are you making it like it's European. It's not just Europeans that are going to be treating you like that. It's going to be people who look just like you and I. Okay? There are going to be some people who look just like you and I. They don't want you to rise. They know who you are. They know that you are the one that bears the light. And they are angry that you bear the light and they don't bear that. They are angry that you bear the light. They're angry that you bear the light, and despite you, they are angry that you bear the light. And now, like I said, if they have mistreated you or been, offending to you, once they realize that you are the divine one, I mean, how are they going to feel? Like, oh wow, you the divine one, and I was just over there spitting in your face just a second ago, and now I find out that you divine. Wow. You know, they're going to be at a loss for words. And do you think that they're really going to want to see you rise to your best point, to your pinnacle, after they have mistreated you? Maybe had not they may not have mistreated you, but being the fact that they have degraded you and kept you down in every way possible, they'll never want to see you rise because they're going to be too afraid that you're going to treat them like how they have treated you. But one thing about you, my love, is you have been always been compassionate. You have always been generous. You have not been one of those that attempted to try to be cool and demonic and evil. in many ways. You have tried to be as generous to the world as you can. You've gone from one geographical location to another with your loving self, and you've tried to civilize any and everything in your path. That is the beauty of you. That's why you are the one with the light, baby. Everywhere you go, everywhere you go, anything you touch, you always try to empower it and bring it up to a positive, a better level. Versus those everywhere they go and everything they touch, they're always trying to keep everything degraded but themselves. They'll elevate themselves, but try to leave, others in a state of stagnation. So, you gotta, be understanding and try to be as compassionate and understanding to the situation as you can. Okay, because that is one of the things that you have been known for, is your generosity, as I stated, in your kindness, your attempts to try to, like a lotus flower, you like the sun to the lotus flower. You are in your attempt, every day you rise, you try to give it a little sun and hope that it will rise to the occasion along with you. So, when you come across these people who are just, you know, using these negative terms to try to degrade you and try to destroy, whatever levels of self-confidence that you have, you look at them, and now with this new understanding that that this word is not degrading, that it means something powerful and productive, way beyond their comprehensional levels, way beyond their intellectual levels. And now you don't have to get upset, and you don't have to punch anybody in the face. You don't have to slap anybody. You all you have to do is look at them and ask them, did they crawl out of a cave? Where have you been? This word is ancient, and no, it does not mean something negative and derogatory. You got to situations. It's time. Let's stop punching them in the face and putting your hand on them, because see, that's you worry about how you get COVID, but you putting your hand on germs. Don't let the germs touch you. That was one thing that was sacred to us. You come up to us in certain aspects of history, and you get that double. Wait a minute, hotel, hold up, wait a minute, back up, baby. It ain't gonna be too much touching around here, okay? All the touching is how diseases and infestations and germs are spread. So we want to stop putting your hands on things that's going to make you sick and cause you to be infected with whatever germs and negative energy and negative uh, uh, energy and infestations that they may carry. You don't want to be touched. Don't touch them. Okay. So when they call you when somebody says the N word to you, and it is not somebody that's using it in a positive way, and they say something like that to you, you just look at him and says, do you know how old that word is? That word was around before the Europeans were civilized, and then ask them, did you crawl out of a cave? All right. Now, I hope this was informative. Hotel.